Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Roma Lash TV. Today, I'm recapping episode 9 of Real Housewives of Atlanta, season 16. So let's get into it. Let's get into the episode. Okay. So the episode starts off with Cynthia. She meets up with all the girls. Okay, so we have like three different scenes. In the we have three different scenes where Cynthia meets up with Kelly and Shamia, and then she meets up with oh my gosh, Portia, and then she meets up with Angela. And she's just discussing the whole situation that happened in their last night at Nashville when they were in Nashville for Portia's birthday. So she's just meeting up with the girls to, get all the information about the tea, the whole situation that went down with the girls and Angela. They were like having fun, and they got drunk and stuff, and they were like just talking about Angela, her husband, just saying some things that she didn't really like. And, there was a whole situation with that. She ended up leaving early. Drew ended up leaving early with her. So Cynthia just wants to meet up with all the girls to get everyone's point of view on what happened. So she's, as you see here, she's having drinks with Shamia and Kelly, and they're just giving like their point of view on what happened. Shamia is sharing a text message that she was sent by Angela, and Angela's basically saying in the text message, it's a pretty long text message, so like they fast forwarded, what she said because she said a lot. And but she basically said, me and you guys don't share the same morals and values. You guys were disrespectful to me and my husband, disrespecting me and my husband. And yeah, like, it's all good, but like basically saying like she wants no parts, right? Right. So was there anything else I missed? No, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's what they showed at least. So then she meets up with Portia, and Portia is basically telling her, what did Portia say? Oh my gosh, so much happened in this episode, guys. But Cynthia's confronting her about, apparently, Portia, you got drunk and you said something about, you made a comment about you should screw Charles, which is Angela's husband. And Portia's saying, she doesn't recall saying that, but she was drinking, they were, a little tipsy off the Henny. So, she doesn't recall saying that, right? So that's pretty much it with Portia. And then she meets up with, of course, Angela. So she goes to Angela's place, and Angela's just telling Cynthia all what she heard because she wasn't downstairs drinking with the girls. If you saw episode 8, you would know what I'm talking about. She wasn't downstairs drinking with the girls. She was upstairs in her room, and she overheard everything that was said. She recorded a little bit, and then she decided to go downstairs and just confront the girls, and Portia, like, what's up, like, you guys are, I'm hearing my name from upstairs, like, what's being said, like, what's the issue, so she's just telling her that basically how she came downstairs to confront the girls. She told Cynthia all what she heard them say. And yeah, one of the things that was said, one of the main things that stood out to her was that Portia said, I should F Charles, which is Angela's husband. So of course, like, that's kind of, it's disrespectful, to say about, um, a married man, especially around his wife. So, and coming from Portia, it's really not a good look because, we all know the situation that happened with Fallon and Portia and Simon. We know how Portia got Simon, you know. So yeah, it's coming from Portia, it's really not a good look because yeah, her track record with other people's husbands, it's not good. Okay, so Portia's the last person who should be making a joke about that. It really does not look good on her end. So yeah. Um yeah, so this is when she met up with her. And what else? Okay, yeah, so the next scene we see it is Kelly's dog's birthday. So Kelly's dog's name is Cha Cha. So this is Cha Cha's birthday party. She really went all out, guys. She went all out. Like her dog is spoiled, okay? Like she had a whole birthday party for the dog. There were like games and stuff. You know, there were a lot of people that you would have thought it was a kid's birthday party. There was finger painting. There was all types of cool activities to do. There was lots of food, dog treats, you know, just a lot of stuff. This is Cha Cha, by the way. This is Kelly's dog, and she's a real princess. Okay, she is pampered, she is spoiled, she is all of the above, girl. She gets her nails done, she gets her lashes done, she gets her hair dyed, like she gets the whole 9 yards. Cha Cha living better than me. And Kelly, I think she said she spends like well over like $1,000 just to, you know, um maintain Cha-Cha, you know, to maintain her lifestyle, you know, her bougie princess lifestyle. So then what's her name? Brittany shows up, and this is Brittany's dog, Mimosa. Mimosa and Cha-Cha are friends. So, you know, Brittany had to bring Mimosa to the birthday party, Cha-Cha's birthday party. And like I said before, you know, there's a lot going on. She really went all out. Like Kelly really went all out. There was balloons and stuff. Like you would have thought it was a kid's birthday party. You know, they had it in a park, a dog park, I think. And yeah, it was really nice. You know, she really went all out, and it was a nice party. Yeah, this is Kelly. Kelly looked nice. And yeah, so while the dogs are playing and, you know, everybody's just, you know, there with their dogs, enjoying the activities and stuff like that, um, Brittany and Kelly, they chop it up and they just catch up with what's going on in their lives. Brittany is telling Kelly basically, you know, my mom is coming to live with me soon, within like the next month or so, because she's moving out of her house. She doesn't want to live there anymore because, you know, Brittany's father passed away, and she just, you know, the mother just wants to get out of that house. She doesn't want to be there anymore. So she's telling her that Kelly is, you know, giving her up to date with you know, what's happening with her and stuff like that. So yeah, this is Britt having a conversation with her mom. You know, as I mentioned before, her mom's gonna be moving in. This is Brittany and her sister. She basically told Kelly that like since her father died, there's been like some family issues, you know, like her sisters haven't been on the best terms. They're a little distant. But she's in a good place with her sisters, but her sisters themselves are not exactly in a good place with each other. They're not as close as they used to be. So, you know, Brittany has to kind of, you know, be the mold to like hold everyone together, I guess. So the next scene, we see Portia. She's going to her mom's house, and this is her daughter, Pilar, PJ, and she brings a dog for PJ. And she said the reason why she brought PJ a dog was to just compensate for you know, her energy being low. And also she said that PJ is at the age, PJ is 5 by the way. So she feels like, you know, PJ is at the age where she might want a younger sibling, which I understand, it's normal, 5 years old around that age. Yeah, you would, you know, kind of get lonely as a child. But the whole thing with her saying, she got her a dog to compensate for her energy being low, it's like, my take on that is you need to find a way to get your energy back up. Okay? Like, I get it. Portia's going through a divorce, and divorce is not, I mean, she wasn't married to the guy for how long was she married to him for? Like a year or something? Like, she really wasn't married to Simon that long. So, I mean, I don't know um how much hurt she's feeling from this divorce. I think maybe because Simon is giving her such a hard time with the whole divorce process, I think that might be taking a toll on her mental. But I mean, like, you got to be strong, girl. Like, you got a child, you got a young child at that. Like, you need to be strong. Like, get it together. You know what I mean? So, yeah, your energy is low. You need to find a way to bring your energy back up because, I mean, yeah, it's nice bringing a dog for your child. It's nice that, but she still needs her mom. So Portia needs to find a way to, get herself back in good spirits, like find something. I don't know if she has to take up a hobby or something, but she needs to find a way to bring her energy back up, get back in that high vibration because, if not for her sake, for her daughter's sake. That's just how I feel on that. So yeah. Oh, one thing that I forgot to mention, when Cynthia met up with the girls, I knew I was forgetting something. When it was this scene, right? Oops. Yeah, this scene. She mentioned that well, after hearing all the tea and all the gossip about what happened when she was asleep, she mentioned to the girls that she would be having a Juneteenth party at her place. Okay. She was calling it her Bailey Q instead of barbecue. And she normally has it on July 4th, but this year she would be having it on Juneteenth since Juneteenth is now officially a holiday. And she also mentioned that she would have a prophet. That's really, really important. I'm so happy that I remembered it now because that's important information, guys. Right? So yeah, she's having her Juneteenth barbecue at her place, and she's gonna have a prophet. So let me go back. Let me go back to also when she met up with Portia. Portia did say here. Portia did say that she would never screw nobody's husband, which I found hilarious. I forgot to mention that too. I found that hilarious because, girl, you already screw Fallon's husband and you took her husband, okay? You married that man. So I find it funny that she said that. But yeah, fast forward to this scene, okay? So yeah, she buys a dog for Pilar really looks like her father. Oh my gosh. She looks just like Dennis. It's like he just spit her out. Wow. Um, yeah, so she gets her a dog. She's happy. Portia goes in the kitchen and she has a talk with her mom and her sister, which is this is her sister, by the way, if you guys don't know. Okay, so she has a talk in the kitchen with her mom and her sister, and one of the things she's talking about is the whole situation that happened. She's basically telling them how her birthday trip was, and letting them know about the drama that happened with Angela, and her saying that she would screw her husband, even though she doesn't remember saying that. She lets them know, she was off the henny, and they thought it was a little kiki, but obviously, the girls in her circle don't think that. So yeah. Um, What else? What else? What else? think that's pretty much it for this scene. Yeah. Portia's mom looks really good, by the way. She looks really good. I feel like every season she just looks younger and younger. So, yeah, that was it for this scene. So the next scene we see Shamia. She goes to the surrogacy consulting office because if you guys have been watching the season, Shamia wants to have another child and she wants it via surrogate. So this is her former surrogate, by the way. I forget her name. Oh, here's her name, Shadina. That's her former surrogate. And it's there to meet her potential surrogate, which is Asha. This is her right here. Shamia is meeting, I think she's meeting her for the first meeting her for the first time here at the office. She's really excited. She's really happy. And she calls her husband Gerald, and Gerald, he, they're FaceTiming the surrogate, her and the surrogate. He's having a little talk with her, and Shamia while he's on the phone. And yeah, they're just talking about that whole process and how it's going to be and whatnot. The next scene, we see Angela. Angela is at the gym. I don't know if she's at a gym or if it's like a gym in their house. I'm not sure, but she's training with her husband. Her husband is a gym rat. He takes the gym really seriously. Honestly, I think it's a blessing when you're someone. I mean, I don't know if she would be working out if she wasn't with him, but me, I love working out. I love training at the gym. And I feel like if you're someone that loves training, if you love being at the gym and working out, I feel like it is such a blessing when you have a partner who's the same way also, who takes training and working out just as serious as you do. So, yeah, kudos to Angela. Kudos to Angela. That's why her body's snatched and she is in good shape, honey. Cause yeah, her husband is a drill sergeant. Like, he don't play about his workout. He don't play. He had her like, yeah, like hup two. So he had her doing all kinds of stuff in the gym. So then after that, after their workout, they sit down and Angela is telling her husband, she's telling Charles about, the whole situation, what happened, her bringing Drew to Portia's birthday party. I personally don't think it was a good idea. If you know that Portia and Drew are not really on the best of terms, I don't think Portia's birthday was a good time for you to bring Drew. I understand why she did it. I know she wasn't trying to be malicious. I know, she knows that Drew and Portia have been friends for a while, so she was trying to get them to make up. But I don't think Portia's birthday was the best time for that. Your birthday, you want to enjoy yourself. You want to be around the people that you love the most, the people that you enjoy being around the most. You don't want to hang around someone that you're not really feeling at the moment. You don't want to hang around people that you don't really like. You don't want to spend your birthday with people that you don't really like. You only want to spend your birthday with people that you enjoy being around. Okay, so I get Portia's frustration. I get why Portia was annoyed that she brought you, but I mean, she played it off. She wasn't as mean to Drew as I expected she would have. But I mean, honestly, look, I just think Portia's overreacting. I really don't think Portia has a reason to be upset with Drew. Like, you're not with Dennis anymore. Who cares? Like, you already moved on. You married somebody after Dennis, okay? Like, if you were still married to Simon, I don't think. Well, who knows? It's Portia, so maybe she would have. But like, I was gonna say, if she was still married to Simon, I don't think she would have cared that much that Drew was, doing a song with Dennis. And that's another thing too. It's like, you, sorry, um, Drew is not screwing Dennis. It's just business. Like, he does music. She just wants to do music with the guy. Okay. She's doing an album. She just wants to, she's just it's just business. Like they're just making music together. They're not sleeping around, they're not going on dates or anything like that. It's strictly business. So I don't know what the issue is. Like I don't know why it's such a big issue for Portia. Like, look, Drew is putting money in Dennis's pocket. Okay, and whatever money Dennis is, I mean, the money is gonna come back to Portia because they have a child together. So I really don't see what the big deal is. I really think Portia's overreacting. It's just business. They're just making music together. It's not a big deal. Like Dennis does not need to tell her anything, and neither does Drew. It doesn't matter if like baby daddy or not. Like it's just music. It's just business. It is what it is. You know? I mean, if she wanted to go on dates with him or something, then that would have been a different story. But it's just business. It's really not a big deal. Portia needs to get it together and just, chill. So anyway, Angela tells her husband, like I mentioned before, her inviting Drew to Portia's birthday. Um, she lets him know the reasons why. I was just trying to get them to make up. Her husband said, that wasn't a good idea. I would not have done that. And then Angela goes on to tell him what Portia and the other girls were saying about him. How anybody can screw him and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And Angela's husband is just like, he's not even fazed by it. He's like, look, Portia don't know me. So it is what it is. People say shit all the time. People say, like weird things, stupid things all the time. So I'm not fazed by it. So whatever, it is what it is. He just, he goes, do you believe it? Angela's like, no. So he's like, okay, well, hey, it is what it is. Next. So then the next scene is, yes, we're back at Portia's mom's house. PJ is there, and I think Dennis is coming over too. Yes. Portia is going to meet her au pair, or au anyway, I don't know if I'm saying it right, but her au pair, whatever it is, okay, her helper. She's gonna meet her helper. She's coming from South Africa, and she's gonna be there to be in the house to help Portia out, okay, with her child and everything. So she has like a little like celebration type of thing prepared for her, with the balloons. She has like wine and food and stuff like that. So Dennis comes to the house. He arrives first, he wants to make sure he's there to meet the au pair. And this is cute. They had their little confession together. He just popped up in her confessional. That was cute. And then the au pair, whatever, she shows up. Phoebe, that's her name. And yeah, she meets Dennis. She meets Portia's sister, the family. She meets Portia, of course. And she just shows the au pair. We we prepared a little something for you, to make you feel special. Here's your cake and stuff like that. Welcome, a little welcome gift. I thought it was really sweet. It was a nice gesture. It was really cute. And, she is basically just letting Portia know, this is my mom's house, but you're going to be back and forth between my house and Dennis's house. Dennis does not live with me, blah, blah, blah. Here's PJ. So, she goes off with PJ and, you know, um, yeah. But before that, she talks with Dennis. She tells Dennis and Portia a little bit about herself. She has friends there and stuff. And yeah, so when she goes off with PJ, Portia and Dennis, they decide to go in the kitchen and have a little chat. So Portia confronts Dennis about filming with Drew. And I mean, like the way she went about it, like I feel like she's putting 20 on 10 a little bit, because she's like kind of like insinuating that, oh, y'all got a little relationship going on. Like, why didn't you tell me about y'all's relationship and this and that and blah, blah, blah. And I get it. Like, agreed, if Dennis agreed that he would not film with Drew, you know, then I get why Portia's upset, but at the same time, it's like, who cares, Portia? Like, if they're filming, like, who cares? I really feel like Portia's upset because Dennis and Drew are basically her whole storyline so far for the season. Dennis and Drew are her whole storyline. Okay, she does not have a storyline other than being upset about Dennis and Drew working together musically. Since the first episode, that's been her storyline. She's been upset with Drew because Drew is working with Dennis. She has nothing else going for herself other than that, you know? So, I mean, um, if Simon was, allowing her to film um, at her house, at their house, sorry, or if he was, willing to film with Portia on the show, I don't think Portia would have cared that much, to be honest. But, I get it. Like, you're filming with another housewife. And it's like, Portia needs Dennis to be her storyline because that's really all she has going for herself. She can't talk about the situation with her and Simon. She can't film with Simon. She can't even film at her house. Every time she films, she has to be at her mom's house, So I get it. She's frustrated, like, how dare you film with another housewife when, I need you to be my storyline. I'm depending on you. Like, I'm depending you I'm depending on you to be my storyline. So you can't be part of another housewife's storyline, So I get it, like, yeah. It's stupid, it's really stupid because it's really just business, they're not screwing or anything, but I get it because she needs Dennis to keep her story to stay relevant on the show. She needs Dennis, right? So yeah, they're talking and she's like insinuating, "Oh yeah, yeah, you told me that Drew wanted to smash you and blah 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 blah." And Dennis is like, "I never said anything like that." And she's just like, oh, before she said that, Dennis said that his answer to Portia saying, "Oh, you're filming with another housewife, you're filming with Drew, and blah 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 blah." His response to that was, I didn't know that the cameras were gonna be there. She just showed up and the cameras were there. I didn't know. And we see in the flashback that that was clearly a lie because the cameras were already there before Drew showed up. Like, this is him with his boys at the studio, and this is Drew now walking into the studio. The cameras were already there. So this was a lie that Dennis told, but I mean, who cares, Whatever. If she is recording, if she's making music with Dennis and she is on the show, it would make sense that she would have a scene or two with Dennis because she's part of the show and they're working together. So it would make sense. So anywho, Dennis ends up telling Portia, um, out of respect for you, she's no longer signed to me. I don't know if you scared her away or whatever. And this is Portia's face. Portia's like, huh? Like, Portia was shocked. I'm sure deep down inside, Portia was jumping for joy. Portia was like, yes, like, thank God, but she couldn't really show it. But, this is like the most, she just looked surprised. But I'm pretty sure deep down inside, she was jumping for joy. Okay. So she confronts Dennis about him allegedly saying that Drew said she wanted to smash him. And, she goes on her phone to show this text message, and it was BS because all Dennis said to her was, all you had to do was say so. But it had nothing to do with sex or anything like that. So Portia was just reaching, okay? She put on her glasses and everything. She was reaching, okay? She was reaching, and I get it. Like, she has to reach because, again, her entire storyline this season is Dennis and Drew. So, she has to she has to try to pull shit out of her ass, I guess, when it comes to them. So in the next scene, we see Brittany. She's at her mom's house. She's there with her sister, Cher, and they're basically packing things up because, of course, as I mentioned before, Britt's mom is moving back, not moving back, but she's moving into Brittany's house. So this is her mother. She's moving into Brittany's house in a month or so, and they're just packing up everything. It is bittersweet for Brittany because she's not used to seeing the house so bare. Um, she always wanted the house to stay in the family. She was hoping the house would be like passed down, from generation to generation. She has a lot of memories in this house, especially with her father. So, the last thing she wants to do is leave the house. Her father's already gone. She's not going to have memories with her father anymore because he's gone. So, this house was, it's, bringing it's keeping the memories alive, but I get where her mom is coming from because if you lose your spouse, you don't really want to stay in the house where you and your spouse lived for many, 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 many years. So I get why her mom would want to leave. If I was her mom, I would want to leave too because the house probably I think she wants to move on, with her life. She wants to move on. Her husband is obviously not coming back, so she wants to move on. She doesn't want the memories, to still be there. Her being in that house by herself, she's probably not used to that. So it's just bringing back memories that she probably just needs to let go of. So I get it. If I was the mom, I totally get it. And Britt just wants her mom to be happy, so she's there to, pack up the things and help her move out. So while they're there, she gets a call from her older sister Tiara, and they're speaking. Her and Cher, they're speaking to Tiara, and things get very emotional here. Cher is basically telling her, you say you love us, but when I call you, you don't answer. And Tiara's basically saying, everybody grieves different, but Cher's like, it's not fair. Like, you're just leaving me out to dry. You're not, you're just distant. Like, it's not fair. Like, you're just so distant with me. And I get it, because when you're going through, I get where Tiara is coming from. People grieve differently. Some people become more distant with their family, and some people need their family even more during a time of grieving. So, I get it. It's not fair. It's unfortunate, but like Tiara said, everyone grieves differently. But I'm one of those people. Um, when my grandmother passed, I wanted to be around my family as much as I could. I wanted to be around my family. I really did. So I'm one of those people. Um, Obviously, when I was around my family, I felt more sadder, but I wanted to be around my family regardless because, they're the ones that reminded me of my grandmother, so yeah, they're just talking. They're talking to Tiara. She said, um, I couldn't make it there. I couldn't be there today, but maybe next time I'll be there. So it is very emotional. The sisters are crying, and it was just a really emotional scene. And the grandmother, she's there. She's like, y'all need to be strong. Y'all need to be there for each other. Stop acting a damn fool. Y'all need to be there for each other. Like, toughen up. So in the next scene, I think this is the last scene actually. They're at Cynthia's Bailey Q. Instead of barbecue, she has her Juneteenth Bailey Q. It's a really nice setup. She has the Juneteenth colors, the Juneteenth flag and everything. Like, I really like how she decorated. It was real. It almost reminded me of like Rastafarian colors. The red, the yellow, the green. Um, yeah, it was a good setup. Outside was raining. It was pouring rain, but it doesn't matter because everyone still showed up. Her prophet friend was there. Me, I'm very spiritual, so I love stuff like this. Like, I wish I was there to talk to that prophet. And this prophet, she is really, really good because she was spot on with a lot of things. Um, she, I think the first person we saw that arrived was Brittany, of course, as you see here, it was Brittany. She was the first out of the housewives to arrive. So she got to speak to the prophet first, and the prophet basically, I think her name is Natasha. Did we see it here? No. Okay. So Natasha is her name, Dr. Natasha. And she basically told Brittany, you need to choose yourself more often. You're always choosing other people, but you need to choose yourself. Basically, like put herself first. And yeah, just choose yourself more, especially when it comes to your business. She did mention, Brittany having a new business venture, which is, accurate because Brittany did talk about wanting to start a new business venture, her shapewear and stuff like that. So she was pretty spot on with that. Then Kelly arrives, and the prophet reads her too. And it's cute because like not Brittany, Kelly thought that she was gonna have to like put her hands out, and like the prophet was gonna have to read her palms to tell her about herself or about her future. And um the prophet's just like, no, I don't need tarot cards, I don't need your palms, I don't need none of that. Like, this is just off my brain. Okay, I could just look at you and just read you like that. So that's how you know someone has strong, spiritual powers, very spiritually in tune, when they could just look at you and just read you like that. That is really like, you're really gifted to be able to just do that, to just look at someone and read them like that. That is, she's really gifted. Okay, her gifts are strong. So when the prophet reads Kelly, she tells her, I know you went through a depression. You need to just focus on new beginnings. And then she's like, she asked about the car. She's like, oh, what happened with the car? you know um the person you were with, they were trying to be vindictive. That's why they sold the car. And the car that they took from you, that's why they sold it. And Kelly is just in shock because Kelly was like, whoa, the only person I told that to was Brittany. So the fact that that is crazy. Like, she was just really like shocked. And yeah, like, this woman, yeah, she's the truth. So then Angela shows up, and the prophet, she reads Angela, and she says that Angela needs to, go on vacation with her spouse. Basically, she needs to, get the sexy back in her marriage. She's saying that, y'all are too comfortable. Us as women, sometimes we get a little too comfortable in our marriage. So you just need to, get the sexy back in your marriage, like kind of like Stella got her groove back. You need to get the sexy back in. Well, maybe not, maybe that's a bad example. Stella got her groove back, that's a bad example. But basically, like, you just need to get the sexy back in your marriage. Like, bring back the romance, bring back the sexy. you know um so yeah, she tells her that. Then Shamia shows up, and the prophet reads Shamia, of course. And hey, Shamia is gonna have a good year. Shamia is gonna have a good year because the prophet tells Shamia 2025 is your money making year. And Shamia is here for it, girl. She's like, yes. And look, Shamia is a Taurus, okay? So that's music to every Taurus woman's ears, okay? Money, like, we are a very materialistic sign. We are the sign of money, okay? So yeah, we love money. So you tell a Taurus they're gonna be making money, they're gonna have a money making year and stuff like that. Like, look, anything that has to do with us and money coming to us, we're here for it. Okay, that's music to our ears. So she made Shamia's day when she said that. Okay, I know she did. So then Portia arrives, and And it, it, it was so funny because um what did she say? She said something about before Portia arrived, she said something about a Porsche. Gosh, what did she say? She said right after she read Angela, before she read Shamia, after she read Angela, she said something about uh she said who has a Porsche? That's exactly what she said. Those were her exact words. She said, "Who has a Porsche?" Okay. And the first thing that came to my mind was obviously Portia. So yeah, she's like, "Who has a Porsche?" She has his eyes on something. So when I first heard that, I was like, "Oh, okay, Portia." And then I thought, has their eye on something? I thought, does Portia have her eye on somebody's man? Does Portia have her eye on Angela's man? Because she said this right after reading Angela. So I thought that was so funny. Y'all might probably think I'm reaching, but I just thought that was so funny that right after she read Angela, she was like, "Oh, who has a Porsche?" Because he has his eye on something. So I'm thinking, okay, Portia, Portia maybe has her eye on someone's husband, maybe. Who knows? But hey, that's just how I took it, you know. Doesn't have to necessarily be that. If it was, I don't think the prophet would have said it on national TV because, people would have probably thought she was being messy. But yeah. So when Portia arrives, Portia's like, "Oh, am I going to be going through a divorce?" Portia, you know damn well you're getting a divorce, okay? It's just a matter of when. How long is it gonna take, okay? So yes, of course, the prophet is like, yeah, you're gonna be going through a divorce, but at some point in the future, you guys will be able to be friends. That is what she said. So I thought, okay, that's cool, I guess. I think it's gonna be a while though, because Simon is a Gemini, and Geminis are petty. They could be really malicious when they're ready. So yeah, I think, when the divorce is finalized and he gets his foot off Portia's neck, and time has passed, yeah, maybe they will be able to be friends. Maybe in the far future. Who knows? So yeah. So then I think Drew showed up. Yeah, Drew showed up. And what's her name? Natasha, the prophet, was like, I'm gonna speak to Drew privately because Drew doesn't want to be read in front of everybody. And I'm like, yes, girl, as you should, because when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to stuff like this, um, you know, a, a lot of the girls in the group, a lot of the girls in this circle, they're not really fond of Drew. So when you're around people that don't really like you that much or are fake pretending to like you don't want them to know your business, okay? Certain people don't need to know your business. They don't need to know if you have blessings coming in the future, if good things are coming your way, because they might want to try to jinx it. They might want to try to, you know what I mean? Like, you just never know with people. Like, some people, they act like they're so nice and they're so pure and they're holier than thou, but you don't know what they're doing behind closed doors. You don't know if they're preying on your downfall. So I just feel like like, I totally get it. If I was you, it would have been the same thing. Like, read me in private. Okay. I don't ever want to be read in front of people, because I feel like sometimes these things can be really personal. Okay, most of the time they are, they're personal, and you just don't want the wrong people knowing your business and knowing what blessings you have coming your way, because they might really try to jinx it. Okay, there's some people that are just really evil. And already when they don't like you, they don't want to know that good is coming to you. Okay, so Portia, she's like, "Oh yeah, Drew's being extra. She should have just got read in front of everybody like we all did." But no, Drew is. You can tell Drew is pretty spiritually in tune. She wants to protect her space. She wants to protect her peace, and she wants to protect her energy. And I'm so here for it. So then, um, yeah, Angela and Brittany start going at it, okay? Brittany kind of started it, she's like, "Oh, the prophet was pretty spot on." By this time the prophet had left. She read everybody and then she left. She went to enjoy the party. So Brittany's like, "Oh, the prophet was kind of she was kind of spot on with a lot of things, and um Angela's like, "Are you trying to say something? Like, what are you trying to say?" So then they start going back and forth. You know, Brittany's being sarcastic with her. Angela's taking jabs at her. They're taking jabs at each other. She's calling Angela's telling Brit she got a big mouth. She has miles on her mouth. Brittany's telling her maybe you should use your mouth, and maybe, you should use your mouth to save your marriage, because you girl, you having problems with your marriage. So, maybe if you put that mouth to work, your marriage won't be on the rocks. Basically telling her that. She didn't say it in those words, but you know, to that effect. So then she gets up and because let me tell you, Angela was reading her for filth. She was calling her all kind of whore and this and that. I'm a married woman. You're a whore. You got miles on your mouth and blah 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 blah. You got a big ass mouth and whatnot. Okay, so Brittany, she got up and Cynthia's like, hey, calm down. And yeah, yeah, you got miles on your mouth. Listen, Angela, she sat right there and she read Brittany for filth in a classy way, savage but classy way. And she just had everybody like this. Everybody was like, huh? She said, what now? She said, what now? She had jaws dropping and everything, okay? She read Brittany like the New York Times, okay, child? And yeah, she had Brittany like, damn, girl, you really went that low? My girl tilted her head and everything. That's how shocked she was how Angela read her. So anywho, um, yeah, not Brittany, Drew, she exited the room because she was like, look, I ain't trying to be around all that drama. I need to protect my peace. I ain't trying to be around all of that, okay? All that mess. So they kept going back and forth. They kept going back at it. And Cynthia's sister, is it Mal? I was gonna say Marlo, but that's not Marlo. I think it was Mal. So she comes in. Cynthia plays a little game, a little like trivia game where she's asking the girls questions about Juneteenth, and they have to try to guess the right answer and stuff like that. So she asked, I don't remember the questions, but she asked one question, and like everybody got it wrong. And Portia's like, I've never been so loud and wrong in my life. And then it was so funny because they showed a flashback about that time when this was like seasons ago. I don't know it was like a season from like years ago. I think it was Portia's first season actually. And they went on like some little like trip or something. And it was the time when Portia thought that the Underground Railroad was an actual train. So Portia's like, I've never been so loud and wrong in my life. And then they showed this clip, and I thought it was so funny because everybody was looking at her crazy, okay? She was like, oh, so they need to get someone to drive the train, right? Because it's not like an electrical train like what we have now. So yeah, they have to like something stupid like that, she said. And everyone was just looking at her crazy, okay? Like it was so funny. Like I was like, wow, Portia, you are ditzy. Because she was like, I don't know how old she was. I think she was like in her early 30s or something. This was a good while ago. This was like, yeah, I think she was already in her 30s. So yeah, they showed this clip and I just thought it was funny. So then they're just showing, um, clips from the party. There was a lot of food there. Oh my gosh, there was food galore. I was watching this episode and I was getting hungry, child, because there was just so much food. Oh my gosh. And the food looked good too, man. The food looked so scrumptious. Mm-mm. All that good home cooking, all that good soul food, child. I know they have, man. I got hungry watching this episode, okay? So yeah, so the girls, they're eating, they're stuffing their faces. There's a lot of desserts and stuff. There's wine, there's good food, of course. And then Cynthia comes and tells the girls, I need to pull Angela and Portia aside. So, they can, have their little one-on-one discussion away from the girls. I really like that she pulled them away from the girls for them to have this discussion privately. So she brings them in the prophet room, they speak. And Angela's basically saying, she's telling Portia, what does she say to Portia? She's basically telling her, I don't like what you said, the comment that you made. It was like inappropriate, it was disrespectful and stuff like that. And Portia is telling her, I don't like that you invited Drew and stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. They're just telling each other, what they didn't like that the other person did. Um, I do feel like Portia was being a little bit um, dismissive, I guess, towards Angela. Um, yeah, I feel like that. And thank God Cynthia showed up, because Cynthia ended up, she came to check up on them, see how they were doing. They hadn't apologized by this time. They were still kind of like going back and forth a little bit. Um, but Cynthia was like, Portia, you should apologize, for making that comment about her husband. And Portia's like, well, she should apologize to me. And I don't really think Angela needed to apologize to Portia, because again, she wasn't coming from a malicious place, but I do get it, if Portia's not really getting along with someone, you shouldn't invite someone that I'm not getting along with to my birthday party. So I kind of get it, especially the way she was so um adamant about trying to bring Drew there. I mean, I felt like Angela didn't really read the room. It was pretty obvious that Portia didn't, she didn't actually say that she didn't want Drew there, but it was pretty obvious. Like, she gave a lot of hints, like, I don't want this girl here. She gave enough hints. Like, it was, you know what I mean? So I just felt like it should have been a different time. I think that she should have waited until Portia came back from her birthday uh, trip to maybe invite Drew and Portia out on like a lunch date or something, and then they all speak about it together. But I don't think Portia's birthday was necessarily the best place. It wasn't the time or the place to do it. Because again, your birthday, you just want to be surrounded by the people that you love, not people that you're not really feeling. Even though Portia was petty for having a problem with Drew, simply just working with her husband just for business, you know? But yeah, so I mean, it's reality TV. They gotta fight about something, right, child? They gotta fight about something. So yeah. So Cynthia comes. They both gave each other half-ass apologies, in my opinion, because Angela's just like Portia's like, oh, she need to apologize to me for um, what she said about my husband. I don't remember Angela saying anything about her husband, but I guess it was the whole comment that Kelly said in the beginning about, oh, did you sleep with that lady husband? And she kind of asked the question again at Portia's birthday. Like, oh, why did you sleep with that lady husband? Like she asked the question again. Kelly asked it first in the first episode, but then Angela asked it again at the dinner for Portia's birthday. So I mean, look, the whole world wants to know the answer to the question, but again, wrong time, wrong place. Okay, Portia's birthday. Like, if you're there to celebrate Portia on her birthday, you don't want to piss the birthday girl off. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to piss the birthday girl off. It's her birthday. You want her to be happy, okay? You don't want her to be pissed. So, her asking that question again at the birthday table at the dinner, um, yeah, wasn't a good. So that's what Portia meant when she said she wanted an apology. So not Brittany. Why do I keep mixing up these women's names? So Angela was just like, you know what? If you felt offended by what I said about, you, your husband, whatever, I apologize. Again, it was a half-ass apology because anytime someone starts off an apology with, if you feel offended, or anytime you start off an apology with if, it's half-ass, okay? Like, I don't care. Just say sorry with your chest. Just say, you know what? I'm sorry for saying such and such. Don't say if you felt offended, if I offended you by saying blah, blah, blah. Like, it's half-assed. It's not a real apology. Like, I don't care. It is what it is. I said what I said. But Portia gave her a half-ass apology back. She's like, ditto. Um, if you felt offended by something I said, I apologize too. Another half-ass apology. So they gave each other half-ass apologies, and that was that. So Portia leaves the room after getting a hug from Angela, and then Cynthia brings Shamia in the profit room to have her sit down with Angela, because remember in the beginning, Angela sent Shamia that long ass text message, basically saying like, I don't F with y'all anymore. Y'all are, y'all have a fake sisterhood. It's a fake ass sisterhood. And we don't have the same morals and values and stuff like that, right? So I'm good on y'all, basically, is what she said. And Shamia just wanted to know, like, hey, what was that text message all about? Because I really don't feel like, what did I do? So Angela is basically telling Shamia, I didn't appreciate the fact that, I went too far back. I went too far. So Angela's basically telling Shamia, I wasn't too happy with the fact that you were laughing at the comment that was made, the comment that Portia said about screwing my husband. And Shamia didn't feel like she did anything wrong. She said, it wasn't her fault. It wasn't her fight, I mean. And she's like, I'm not going to justify what Portia said. I'm not here to talk about Portia, so blah, blah, blah. It didn't really go anywhere. I feel like their conversation was a little bit more heated, just a little bit more heated, or maybe a little more hostile than the conversation that she had with Portia, which is crazy because, Portia was the one who said the thing, but Shamia was just like, girl, Shamia did not have time for it today. Okay, Shamia was not here for it. She's like, look, it's not my fight. I don't care. I'm not here to talk about what Portia said. I'm here to talk about my party. Okay. And yeah, it didn't go nowhere. So they just both agreed to disagree, because Shamia's like, look, I laugh at a lot of shit. I laughed at my uncle's funeral, like whatever. If I think something's funny, I'm gonna laugh. That it is what it is. So Angela's like, you know what, let's just agree to disagree, because this conversation is not gonna go anywhere. I feel like it's just gonna go left. So before it goes left, let's just end this conversation. They did not apologize to each other, but Shamia apologized to Angela in the confessionals. So she didn't apologize to her face, but she apologized in the confessionals. But they both agreed to just, let's end the conversation and, whatever, let it be, because this ain't gonna go nowhere. Okay. So And Shamia looks so nice, by the way. She's really giving me like Coming to America, School Days type of vibes. If y'all are old enough, you guys will know the movie School Days. It's an 80s movie. Tisha Campbell was in it. It's a Spike Lee movie. So yeah, she was giving me like School Days meets Coming to America. I love her whole outfit. And yes, girl, it was so appropriate for Juneteenth. Okay. So I'm here for it. So then, Brittany and Kelly, they're just there. They're just, talking. They're enjoying their shots. They took a lot of shots, chow, at this Juneteenth party. Okay, so everybody's just having fun. They're just showing people having fun after taking shots, taking pictures, taking photos, and just having fun. And that's pretty much it for this episode. Um, yeah, I think that was pretty much it for the episode. So, what is this popping up on the screen? What is this? All right. So, yeah, that's it for the episode. Let me know in the comments below how you guys felt. What was your favorite scene? What are your comments? Like what are your comments on the episode? Do you think that Shamia was in the wrong for laughing at the comment that what's her name, Portia made when she was under the influence? Do you think that Angela was in the wrong for asking that question again at Portia's dinner, about her sleeping with um, that lady husband? Do you think that Portia is overreacting by being upset with Dennis for filming with Drew? Like, just let me know. Let me know in the comments below how you feel. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.